The next quote is from Epictetus. He was a former slave who became one of the most influential philosophers of all time. His philosophy centered around the idea that people shouldn't focus on the things they can't control, such as external events, but instead focus on the things they can control, like their own thoughts and reactions. This idea has been popular in many other philosophies as well, including Stoicism, Taoism, and Buddhism. So here's the quote. It's impossible for a man to learn anything unless he first desires to. If you don't want it bad enough, then you won't seek it out, you won't find it. And even if by chance you do happen to stumble across it, you won't recognize it or understand it. You must first have an intense desire within you, burning and yearning for the thing, a craving, an appetite, a desire, and then you will get it. All men desire by nature to avoid pain. Some men are so overcome by pain that they end up seeking out death, but the person who has mastered them realizes that it's only in his reactions that pain exists, not in life itself. It's not the event that causes pain, but our opinions about the event that causes pain. We can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we react to those events. This is the essence of Epictetus's philosophy, and this is why he said, it's impossible for a man to learn anything unless he first desires to. When we really want something, when we're hungry and thirsty for knowledge, for improvement, then we will go out of our way to get it. We seek it out. We search for it. We ask questions about it. We try to understand it. We think about it constantly. But if we don't really want it, then we just let it pass us by. It's easy to just ignore the things that we don't want to deal with right now. It's easy to push off studying until tomorrow or the next day or next week. It's easy to just ignore the advice that someone gives us because we don't want to hear it. We don't want to acknowledge it. We don't want to accept it. But the difference between successful people and non-successful people, the difference between those who achieve their goals and those who don't, the difference between those who change their lives and those who don't, often comes down to whether or not they're willing to listen to advice, whether they're willing to accept the truth. So yeah, we can't be forced to learn anything. It's entirely voluntary. As Epictetus said, it's impossible for a man to learn anything unless he first desires to. But remember that this quote doesn't just apply to academics. We could also apply it to improving our fitness, improving our nutrition, improving our relationship with God, our family, our friends, our finances. In order to improve these things, we must first have an intense desire within us, burning and yearning for it. But unfortunately, the reality is that most people don't have this desire. They don't want to improve. They don't want to get better. They don't want to be more successful. And this leads me to another point that Epictetus makes in this same chapter. He says, men are disturbed not by events, but by the views they take of them. This is a very important distinction to make. Events themselves do not cause pain or pleasure. It's our opinions about the events that cause pain or pleasure. For example, imagine you're in a long line at the grocery store and you're late for work. Now this event may cause you stress and anxiety. You may start to feel rushed and overwhelmed. You might even start to feel angry or bitter towards the person in front of you. But what if instead of focusing on your anger, you decided to focus on the fact that at least you had a job to go to, at least you weren't unemployed, at least you had food to eat, at least you had a roof over your head? What if you started thinking of all the things you should be grateful for in that moment? In that situation, your perspective completely changes, right? Instead of feeling stressed and anxious, you might actually start to feel calm and at peace. Instead of feeling angry and bitter, you might actually start to feel grateful and thankful. Because remember, events themselves do not cause pain or pleasure. It's our opinions about the events that cause pain or pleasure. Another example, imagine you're playing basketball and you missed an easy layup. Now this event might cause you to feel embarrassed or ashamed. You might start to feel like you're not good enough, that you're not talented enough. But what if instead of focusing on your negative thoughts, you decided to focus on the fact that at least you were playing a sport, that at least you were exercising, that at least you were spending time with your friends? What if you started to think of all the things you should be grateful for in that moment? In that situation, your perspective completely changes, right? Instead of feeling embarrassed or ashamed, you might actually start to feel confident and proud. Instead of feeling like you're not good enough, you might actually start to feel like you're capable and talented. Because again, events themselves do not cause pain or pleasure. It's our opinions about the events that cause pain or pleasure. But unfortunately, most people never learn this lesson. They stay trapped in their own negative thoughts and emotions. They let their past experiences define who they are. But the truth is that we have the power to change our thoughts and emotions. We have the power to choose how we respond to events. As Epictetus said, we can't be forced to learn anything. It's entirely voluntary. So if we don't like how we're feeling, if we don't like how we're responding to certain events, then we have the power to change that. We have the power to learn new ways of thinking, new ways of responding. And if we do this, we will experience less pain and more pleasure in our lives. Now, another thing that Epictetus says in this same chapter is, when you look at the things which are not in your control, you must be ready to say, I won't have an opinion about this. I'm not going to form an opinion about this. I'm not going to judge this. I'm not going to evaluate this. That is what it means to be free, to have no opinions about things that are not in your control, to not judge or evaluate the things that are not in your control. When we do this, we become free because we stop stressing ourselves out over things that we can't change, that we can't control. We stop getting upset over things that are beyond our power. Think about all the things that you spend your time worrying about, stressing over, getting upset about, and ask yourself, is any of this in my control? If the answer is no, then you shouldn't be spending any time worrying about it, stressing over it, getting upset about it. Instead, you should be focusing your time and energy on the things that are in your control, like your thoughts, your actions, your reactions. And this is the key to happiness, to living a good life, to achieving our goals. It's not about having everything go our way. It's not about avoiding pain or suffering. It's about focusing on the things that are in our control and doing our best with them. One way to do this is to use the Serenity Prayer. The Serenity Prayer goes, grant me the serenity to accept the people I cannot change, courage to change the one I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. This prayer is a great way to remind ourselves what is in our control and what is not in our control. When we pray this prayer, we're asking God to help us accept the things that we can't change, to give us the courage to change the things that we can, and to give us the wisdom to know the difference. So remember, brothers and sisters, the next time you're faced with a challenge, the next time you're faced with pain or suffering, the next time you're faced with a situation that's out of your control, just remember Epictetus' words. It's not the event that causes pain, but our opinions about the event that causes pain. We can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we react to those events. Be strong, be courageous, be resilient. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus teaches that controlling your reaction is the foundation of freedom, peace, and inner strength. Life is unpredictable. Events happen, some pleasant, some painful, some unjust. But according to Epictetus, these events are externals, outside of our control. What we can control and what truly matters is how we respond to them. Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, taught that the true power of a person lies not in controlling external events, but in mastering their internal response. His principle, to dominate your mind, doesn't mean to suppress your emotions or force your thoughts. It means to understand, discipline, and guide your inner world so that it serves your highest purpose, rather than sabotages it. To dominate your mind is to take responsibility for your inner life. It's to stop blaming the world, and instead claim the power to choose your perception, your response, your attitude. It is to